Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started, and we wanted to start by just welcoming everyone to Lunch and Learn with VCU ACE today. I'm Katie Thompson with the ACE team, and we are so grateful to have Kristen Hamilton and Crystal Hintz joining us today. And they're going to be talking to us about, as you see on your screen, post-education and some of the benefits of those early employment experiences. So I'm going to turn it over to Kristen and Crystal so that they can go ahead and introduce themselves a little bit more and share the topic with you all.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm having a glitch with my slides. There we go. So just as a reminder for educational and quality control, we will be recording the Zoom session. So by participating, you are consenting to that recording. But before the session is shared, we will edit to remove any kind of identifying information. And then if you have any questions, please type it in the chat box. Once again, my name is Crystal Hintz. I am a lead counselor at VCU's Rehabilitation Research and Training Center, and I also work as a training associate with our Autism Center for Excellence.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen Hamilton, and I am a rehabilitation counselor, and I also work for VCU's Rehabilitation Research and Training Center. So today we're going to talk about, just as we mentioned, as the title says, post-education experiences and the benefits of early employment experiences. So one, we're going to talk about the preparation, so helping to build a support network, focusing on the discovery process early on for your student or child. Getting work experiences while in the home and at school. Then we'll be looking at the benefits. So transferable skills, why they're important. Also looking at self-determination and how being able to advocate for yourself helps. Then we will be looking at getting connected, so understanding services and resources, as well as learning about the various transition programs. And lastly, we'll talk about it all. Any questions that you have, please enter them into the chat box. And then at the end of the presentation, Crystal and I will answer those questions along with any other questions that you may have. Okay. Okay, so in this presentation, we really want to emphasize the importance of early employment experiences. However, before we do that, we also want to discuss the potential negative alternative outcomes for individuals with disabilities who may not have had the opportunity or support to develop some of those skills that we will be talking about today. Some of those alternative negative outcomes may include, social isolation. A lot of individuals with disabilities, if they're not connected to their community, they may run the risk of being more socially isolated. We know that it's a symptom of autism that some may experience, that challenges with social engagement in general. So again, getting that experience with employment experience can help to develop that skill. Another outcome may be unemployment. According to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the unemployment rate for individuals with disabilities was 12.6% in 2020. So we know that that number certainly had an impact, or was impacted by the pandemic. However, in 2019, it was only 5.6% lower than that. So there was only about maybe at most 6% increase in unemployment rate from 2019 to 2020. Another outcome may include living in a lower socioeconomic status. So of course, for those individuals with disabilities who are unemployed and not making wages run the risk of living in a lower SES status, as well as the potential to develop any co-occurring mental health disorders or physical disorders or disabilities. So focusing on the positive and the importance of those early employment experiences, it helps to facilitate early collaboration and connection among the student, the family, and the school staff, as well as the community. It allows for the discovery of the student's interests and abilities. And you're going to hear us say student and child interchangeably throughout this presentation. It also better prepares the students and families for transition. It also empowers students to be self-directed, as well as can enhance an overall quality of life.
So everyone, including the student, has an important role to play in the school to work transition. So we'll go through the different groups today, and as Kristen said, we'll be using students and child interchangeably. So parents can help support their child by learning about different resources that are available and advocating effectively to the school staff during IEP meetings. Teachers and school transition staff can help by implementing vocational skill building into the classroom and school setting, and then collaborate with different stakeholders such as the parents or vocational rehabilitation service providers to help promote school-based or employment-based opportunities. Students can help support themselves by engaging in self-determination activities and also learning different life skills at school and at home. Vocational rehabilitation providers can help support early employment experiences by providing information about DARS eligibility, and then later your DARS eligibility can help connect you to pursue employment experiences or pre-ETs, which we'll talk about more in the presentation.
Okay, so since we're talking about early employment experiences, we're going to start with the middle school age range. A lot of educators are starting to focus on what we call the discovery process much earlier, beginning in middle school. And having the families to help and support in this process is so important. Focusing on the following: skills, interests, and self-determination skill building through the use of various assessment tools and interviews with the student and family. You may think that middle school is an early time to start thinking about employment or post-secondary education, but you need to start thinking about that end goal in mind. Discovery during middle school or early high school years gives us valuable time to allow that student to explore different fields of interest and give the student exposure to a greater variety of potential options for their future. So keep in mind that often things that interest them in 7th grade may change by 10th grade, and that's okay. But the goal is to give them more experience and more information for making decisions for their future. So within this chart, this flow chart we have here, right here it's saying 10th grade, really that transition prep underway. So I want you to think about before 10th grade, like we mentioned, middle school, really starting that discovery process. And that could, like I mentioned before, include assessment tools, surveys, interviews with the family and the middle schooler to kind of learn about, what exposure to employment or career fields they've had so far. Getting a better understanding of like what the parents do also. Does the student or child have an interest in what their parents or guardians or family do for work? So really kind of building that career profile early on. And again, this flow chart gives you a little bit more pinpointed goals for the grades that they're in. So as I mentioned, 10th grade transition prep, beginning and underway, 11th grade VR open, starting to open those VR cases as like DARs, as Crystal mentioned, and really starting to look at the different resources and opportunities post-education. But we're starting to see that individuals can be even more successful if we start that process even earlier, like I said before, in middle school. And that way, by the time that the student or child gets to 11th grade, 12th grade, they already have a better idea of what their options are and what their goal is and the potential next best match for them post-education. And so, you know, once these are identified and taught, then the focus will shift to the following, typically starting in junior high, identifying employment themes, as I mentioned, and ideal work tasks, identifying effective strategies and support needs, also determine ideal employment conditions. And in high school, that is when you can continue to work on these employment skills out in the community and begin the journey with the vocational rehabilitation services. Okay, and so this is how parents and educators can help to support the student child with their goals. You know, reflecting on those current IEP goals, you know, are they SMART goals? Are they specific? Are they measurable? Are they assignable? Are they realistic? And are they time related? I encourage you to ask yourself and your student child these questions and to start thinking of ways that they can be answered yes. And if they are already SMART goals, then what are some ways that these IEP goals can be enhanced? Also, are they individualized to my student, intern or my student? Are there specific objectives to be meeting those goals? So yes, we have a broad goal, but what objectives are being listed to make sure that we are meeting those SMART goals? And are they meeting the needs of my student, my child? This is also an important time to learn about the vocational training opportunities. So when you're sitting in those IEP meetings, asking those questions, and asking perhaps the school if they provide community-based instruction, perhaps they have school-based businesses, do they provide situational assessments? So knowing for parents primarily, like knowing those are types of questions that you can ask your child's educators. It's also important to note that during this time, you know, especially with last year, there was uncertainty, perhaps still some uncertainty about this upcoming school year, you know, what services will look like. So we can start to discuss ways that you all can, as a support network of these students, can begin to work on those transition IEP goals while at home also.
So transferable skills are very important and part of the process when you are in the discovery phase and when you are seeking out those employment experiences. They're skills that we can develop in one setting, but use across any other setting. So they make us more marketable. They will make your student more marketable. So we develop these abilities throughout our lifetime, and they include soft and hard skills. So work ethic, communication, stalking, problem solving, teamwork. Those are all skills that we should be working to develop in our students or our children so that they are able to put those skills to use when they're doing post-employment experiences. It's a skill set that learning transferable skills helps build your skill set And then you can use those different skills in different roles and across different environments that you may encounter.
Okay, as I mentioned before, kind of promoting those transferable skills at home and working on things within the home. So choosing activities that help promote communication and other social skills. This can be done through, practicing video chat and or phone calls with families and friends. Because nowadays, a lot of employers are doing interviews through video chat. And I know that that can be a challenge for a lot of people with or without disabilities. So getting that practice now early on would be extremely helpful. Also, practice using sentence starters, working with your student to initiate conversation, whether it's just starting out with family or close friends, and then building on that as they master that. This could also look like playing games with the family to help facilitate social skills and taking turns and teamwork. You can also promote transferable skills at home through choosing activities that help to build self-determination skills. As Crystal mentioned, this is a great soft skill set to have, and that can be done through providing opportunities to enhance like good organizational skills, critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. So perhaps, following a recipe. I've had some clients, families get the HelloFresh kits with everything already in it, and then just helping their student to follow that recipe and just really building on that and getting creative with it. The next would be to engage in activities that require focus and concentration. So this can be done through like word finds, coloring, or painting or drawing. And lastly, working on stamina and endurance. And that can be done through exercise, walking around the neighborhood, going to the gym, or even just having a dance party at home. So it can be creative and it can be fun for everyone involved. So again, working on some of those kind of hard skills, that we mentioned, implementing activities at home, such as chores and cooking, exercise, creating routines, using timers, any schedules, choice boards. So a lot of the supports that we use either on a job site or in the classroom can also be used at home to help keep that expectation and that structure consistent across all environments. That's extremely helpful. So all of the information, if you implement these activities at home, all of that information that you're gathering about your students' skill development can be shared at your students' IEP meetings and used to help shape those IEP goals and to then further develop their employment profile. And again, so promoting those transferable skills at school. So we talked about some of those supports in the classroom, and as well as opportunities within the school system to promote those transferable skills. Might be in-school vocational tasks. Maybe it's a school-based business, or working in the front office. Community-based work opportunities. Perhaps the school has a partnership with a community workplace or work site that your student could get some skills and volunteer at. Also tasks that promote teamwork. Again, kind of circling back to that school-based business if they have one, or any other activities to help promote teamwork. So helping your student to build those vocational skills and a foundation for a resume. This is also important to begin identifying and solidifying employment themes.
Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about self-determination. Self-determination theory helps explain that when one believes in oneself, When you have a self-belief in your own abilities, it will help you to achieve goals. We believe that we can achieve what we set our minds to. It helps us to increase our motivation to complete a task, and in turn will enhance our skill set. So this is also a really great way to build our self-determination is by exploring our personal strengths and practicing self-advocacy for ourselves. As a parent, and so when working in transition, I know that we're more motivated when we like what we're doing, when we feel like we're good at what we're doing, and it's more likely to get follow through, and it will promote inner autonomy and independence when we are allowing someone to feel determined and believe in what they're doing. So some of the ways that we can promote self-determination, like Kristen said, starting in middle school or even earlier as possible will help promote self-determination within our student or within your child. It requires collaboration from the different stakeholders in order to help showcase a student's abilities, interests, and tasks. And it helps us to uncover them when we're all working as a team to develop that self-determination skill within our student or child. A great way to go about promoting self-determination is the discovery process, which Kristen talked about. The discovery process really is a person-centered, age-appropriate transition assessment that can be used with any student. It's a process where you're able to uncover a student's abilities, the ways in which they're successful, and then the different conditions that help promote that success in that student or child across any environment. So it also helps to build trust and a positive relationship between the home and school environment that helps and the educators and families to partner in enabling the students to achieve their educational and future goals. It's really important as well to create a space for open discussion for discovery to take place. So right now, with us being so much in the virtual world, this may look like being online and showing a student what different job tasks someone does when it's something they're interested in. What kind of education or training do you need to have a certain job? It can look like helping family members. If you have someone that's working on a project at their home or outside, taking your child to be a part of that and see how they like working with their hands, or if they really would prefer to be indoors. Those things are important to know during the discovery phase. And also helping your child to take an interest and volunteer in it. A lot of people are interested in animals, so maybe volunteering at an animal shelter when they're young and learning what really goes into helping to take care of an animal and what goes into volunteering at a job will also build transferable skills and help the child to be able to promote what they like in themselves and share those interests when their teachers are asking them, or vocational rehabilitation counselors are talking to them about what they would like to do after school.
Okay, so our next segment, getting connected to services. As you've heard us talk about DARS, which is the Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services. You can contact your local office to begin the referral process. I know that they also have links online to go ahead and get the documentation for all of that. The application process for all of that is done online as well. The following services are provided. So if getting connected through DARS, it's not limited to, but they include helping individuals with disabilities to find and maintain integrated competitive employment. They can connect clients with job coaches, so they'll provide a list of different supported employment vendors, VCU, RRTC being one of them, as well as many others out in the Richmond area. They can connect you to those different employment vendors. The PREETs, the pre-employment transition services, as well as connecting families to their local community services boards for additional resources. And there's one in each of the counties, surrounding counties. So, wherever you are located, they have the connections to network and connect you to the resources that you may need. So some examples of those transition-based programs. So we're talking after high school. You know, if your student child wants to perhaps, you know, they're still trying to figure out, you know, career themes and get more experience in the community. Pre-ETS is this does take place during school, but Pre-ETS does provide 5 different services, which include career exploration, work readiness, skill building for students ages 14 to 22. Students may have an opportunity to have a work-based learning experience in a business and receive counseling on post-secondary education. ACIT and Project Search would happen post-education. So ACIT is a VCU program where it provides an inclusive college experience to students with intellectual disabilities. Each student has an individualized support to experience college employment, classes and activities on campus. Students who complete the 20+ credit hours receive a VCU School of Education certificate. And then of course there's Project Search, which it originated in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1996 and has now over 600 programs across the United States. And it's actually we have projects overseas as well. And this is where they, you know, work at a host business site for typically 9 months, where they learn those transferable job skills, both hard and soft skills. And then they work with a job coach to find employment, paid competitive employment after the program. So there are additional programs in the area, and that's something that, again, DARS can provide more information on. So ultimately, you want to connect to DARS and then to be able to then seek guidance from their agency about the best match that will align with your child's transition goals.
So these are the resources that we used, and the links will be posted with our slides on the ACE website so that you can get in touch here. We have DARS, which is the Department of Aging Rehabilitative Services, which is the great starting point for you. And then some of the other resources that we spoke about today are listed as well. And this CTI Workplace Readiness Handbook as well has a lot of great activities that you could do at home or at school to help promote that self-determination and transferable skills for your child or student. So we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions.
Okay. I'm going to start sharing my screen here again. Hi, everybody. Go ahead and drop any questions you have for Kristen or Crystal into the chat. We want to take advantage of having their time right now to ask anything you need. I think we also have someone that's joining us on the call from the CTI site, and I'm sure she would love to jump in and offer some pointers too as we go through, and you're welcome to do so. Okay. I also will just mention that, you know, Crystal said that we would have the links out to all this information, the slides from today and the recording. And I put the link to that archive page in the chat. So make sure to take note of that for future. So, okay, so we have a question coming in here and it says, at what age would you utilize DARS? She has a 10th grader at this time. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Pre-ETS is eligible for students age 14 to 22. So I think now would be a good time to go ahead and get in touch with them. If it's too early, they also they'll guide you and let you know when a good time is. But if you have a 10th grader, I imagine they're getting close to 14, 15 if they're not already there. And so I think now is a good time. Do you agree, Kristen?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Go ahead and start that application process now. I'm not sure what area you are in. However, you know, with any paperwork, it may take a little bit. I Okay, thank you. So go ahead and get that application and everything submitted now. So then you can get assigned a case manager with DARS. And then I encourage you, if they're able to invite them to your child's IEP meetings. If they have IEP meetings, to invite them to that. And that way you can all as a team start talking about those transition goals.
Yeah, so thank you. And any suggestions for someone interested in a position in transition services, Hampton Roads? So I guess it's actually a person who would be looking to sort of do what you all do. Not sure if there's a thought there.
I'm not sure. I know we do have search sites in the Hampton Roads area. And the Fort Eustis military base and Oceana, I believe, in Virginia Beach. So I definitely would look into the different job postings, project search programs down there, and also the school systems. They are always looking to help build their team for transition and support services personnel.
Yeah, I think
and I was just gonna, oh, go ahead, Katie.
I was going to say, I thought we had our presenter from last week just recently join our call, and I believe she's in Chiquita's in transition in Portsmouth, if I remember correctly. So I know we have there's some great folks in the Hampton Roads area doing good work with transition. So
yeah, I was also just going to suggest like any. I know that they also have support employment agencies, down there. So maybe just a Google search of that, support employment agency positions or anything like that. But as Crystal mentioned, VCU does have sites that, that we're connected with in those areas. And so looking at VCU jobs under the School of Education, there might be something popping up. Right.
Wonderful. And transportation is always something when we're planning for employment. That's a big thing that we talk about in that discovery time. And so Jennifer is asking about, driving schools, or if you've heard of anything, or is that something that you've seen DARS assist with connecting folks to those programs?
Yes, definitely. I know I specifically have worked with the Hanover County Community Services Board pretty closely for the past few years, and they offer a more comprehensive driving course program for individuals with disabilities. So, they have the opportunity to sit in a classroom setting. I don't know if it's virtual right now or what, but yes, DARS could connect you to them, or if you want to connect straight to the CSB, you can. I would just encourage you to, again, a Google search of Community Services Board for your area and see what resources they have available.
Sure. I know I'm not sure how it's being handled right now because of COVID as well, but I know that the Chesterfield DARS office used to do a learning program specifically for driver's education. I believe it was like Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons. So still DARS would be that starting point as well for anything driving related.
Yeah, because sometimes there's so many different services out there. It's hard to know where to go. And in each county, each division, you might have sort of a different path to that answer. So, Kendall, thank you for dropping something in there. She just said that she wanted to share that CTI has an initiative for the discovery process at the middle school level called Discovering Me, a comprehensive implementation guide. And it was just released at the end of March. And so she gave the link. That's wonderful, Kendall. Thank you for sharing that. And I hope that we'll be able to have you on, or you or somebody from the team on to talk more about that in one of our upcoming Lunch and Learns. Thank you. All right, any other questions? I know that what you did share, Crystal, in your slide, one of the last slides, one of the resources from CTI.
Yes. Let me go back. The Workplace Readiness Handbook?
Okay, it was that. Okay, because I
Yes.
think we did have, Kendall, I feel like you did do a little lunch and learn at one point, maybe about that Workplace Readiness Handbook, if I remember correctly. So go check out the ACE archives too, and you can see some more stuff from Kendall and the CTI team. And you can always go to the CTI site also for more transition information. Okay. I'm not seeing a whole lot coming through, but I can hang on here for a few minutes while anybody is still typing. And that is perfect, Crystal, that you add that. We have the next lunch and learn topic up on the screen here. I'm also gonna drop in the chat the information that also has the link so that they can go straight out and register for next week's Lunch and Learn. And it is on autism and the Black family. And we're going to have Maria Davis Pierre joining us to talk about that. And I think it's going to be a really interesting topic. We try to kind of hit different topics each week to keep it, you know, sort of covering things that might be meaningful to different people, because we're all in different places in our service providing or in working with the children that we support. So thank you all so much. And if there's anything else, drop it in there. We'll hang on for a bit because we're finishing a little early today and just see if there's anything. But we just appreciate Kristen and Crystal being with us for sure.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not seeing anything popping up here in the chat. So we'll go ahead and give everybody a little bit of extra time on their Thursday then. How does that sound? Thumbs up on that?
Wonderful.
Oh, yes, I see some clapping. You know, anytime we can get a few extra minutes. Thank you, Kendall, for putting the CTI site directly there. And thank you also. Everything is really helpful to have all those resources right at hand. So. Oh, Woodrow Wilson. That was another thing that Melissa added here. And that might be a good resource for the driving school piece. So I know that can be nerve-wracking thinking about sending your child out to learn to drive. You want to make sure you get that taken care of well. Well, thank you. Okay. All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week at the Lunch and Learn on Thursday, May 6th.